Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is the latest spin-off of The Big Bang Theory, set to air this fall with familiar characters, but Chuck Lorre is working on a third expansion series. Despite being announced way ahead of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, the third The Big Bang Theory spin-off remains in limbo, causing doubts about the possibility that it may never push through. As illustrated by the success of Young Sheldon, CBS may not need another The Big Bang Theory spin-off with Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage already set to release, negatively impacting the untitled project's chances of panning out. The Big Bang Theory spin-off has a second spin-off in the works, but I am skeptical it will actually push through after Lorre's new update. Before Young Sheldon became the juggernaut that it was, I was originally covering its parent series for Screen Rant. I still remember writing CBS comment about planning to order season 13 of the nerd-centric sitcom, only for them to announce that it was ending after season 12. I, and so many fans of the show, were confused as to why the network would change its mind, seemingly so flippantly, about its most popular comedy. As it turned out, the decision to end The Big Bang Theory didn't lie with the network. Instead, it was due to Jim Parsons' decision to leave the series. Recognizing how important Sheldon was to the show, the rest of the cast opted to end the project altogether. I can't blame them. Despite technically being an ensemble, the socially inept genius was clearly its main character. The universe thrived with Young Sheldon, which effectively took over its parent series' spot on CBS programming. Now that it's also finished, Lorre is working on further expanding the franchise. After Young Sheldon ended, the Cooper story will somehow continue via Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. Headlined by Montana Jordan and Emily Osment, the new show will follow the couple as they navigate their life as young parents to baby cease. The show will take over Young Sheldon's time slot this coming fall, with confirmed appearances from familiar characters such as Mary, Missy, and Mima. While production for Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is quietly progressing, ensuring that it will be ready for its premiere date, Lorre is also working on another The Big Bang Theory spinoff. While production for Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is quietly progressing, ensuring that it will be ready for its premiere date, Lorre is also working on another The Big Bang Theory spinoff. First reported in early 2023, not much is known about the upcoming project. When it was first announced, there were claims that it was going to be on Max instead of the traditional network. This would have been a departure from Lorre's history with CBS, which aired The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon. I think that it has a better chance of succeeding if it continues that trend, so I was thrilled when Lorre said that nothing was set in stone yet about where the project may land. However, that was the extent of good news regarding the endeavor. Considering everything that has happened in the last several months, which included the historic dual strikes of 2023, Lorre has undoubtedly been busy. He had to ensure that Young Sheldon ended satisfyingly while also deciding the foundational details of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. However, learning that The Big Bang Theory's third spin-off remains in its prenatal stage is quite concerning to me. When the producer was asked to comment about the same matter in November 2023, his answer was the same, hinting that there was barely any movement in the process between then and now. I know that launching a new spin-off isn't easy, especially one that belongs to a very successful franchise. However, it's worth noting that this untitled project was already in the works long before Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage was announced. At the very least, Lorre and his team could have already decided on its premise. Even if he doesn't want to give it away, he could have shared a tease that's different from the one he gave back in late 2023. Now, it just seems like The Big Bang Theory's third spin-off is stuck in development hell, and it could stay there for the foreseeable future. The Big Bang Theory's third spin-off is stuck in development hell, and it could stay there for the foreseeable future. It may not even push through. That's concerning, especially for people like me who are looking forward to seeing more stories that are directly tied to the Pasadena gang. Despite the lack of narrative detail about the said offshoot, I expect it to have stronger connections to the Big Bang Theory rather than being set in the past like Young Sheldon and its sequel. As someone who enjoyed Young Sheldon, especially the family aspect of the show, I am looking forward to Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. Sure, I would have preferred it if it was a more straightforward continuation of its parent series, as it meant that the Coopers would have a more prominent presence in the new show. But still, it has an exciting premise that is barely tainted by the established canon. My fear is that Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's existence and presumed success could ultimately dissuade Lorre from pushing through with the Big Bang Theory spinoff. Looking at the last 5 years, Young Sheldon alone successfully kept the TV franchise alive. It even expanded its base by diversifying its storytelling with narratives for the rest of the Coopers. On top of that, The Big Bang Theory and its prequel are readily available on streaming platforms, not to mention being perpetually on reruns. All of these could be enough to ensure that the Lorre and Bill Prady created universe without having to launch another expansion show. In any case, it could result in scheduling problems with CBS, and I'd rather have it on network TV than on streaming. With not so much of a progress update from Lorre, it's difficult to say if the third The Big Bang Theory spinoff will ever see the light of day. There's clearly an audience for it, despite the nerd-centric sitcom's checkered past. So in that regard, it shouldn't be difficult to convince any studio executive to greenlight the project. However, I'm afraid that even if Lorre is actually committed to this endeavor, it may not happen anytime soon. Lorre prodigies Steve Malaro and Steve Holland are both busy spearheading Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. Many of the writers who transitioned from The Big Bang Theory to Young Sheldon are also working on the aforementioned sitcom. This leaves him with limited people who can help him launch and run this separate endeavor, which, unfortunately, bogs down an already frustratingly slow process. At this point, I am not getting my hopes up until we get a substantial update about the much-clamored third The Big Bang Theory spinoff.